I mentioned in an earlier video that I wanted to show you two ways of trapping. One is how to trap your dominant color, how to trap floats of your dominant color on your left hand, and one is how to trap floats of your contrasting color or your background color, whatever you want to call it. People use different words, and that's on your right hand. In order to show that clearly, I'm going to have to change the pattern up a little bit so that you see what happens to the strand. So I'm just going to reverse the pattern. Instead of doing 3 blues, 1 brown, 2 blue, I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to do 3 brown, 1 blue, 2 brown. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3 browns, 1 blue, and I'm just knitting across here so that I'm establishing the strands on the back so that you can see why you would have to trap it. Okay. Since I don't like to go more than 3 stitches without trapping, I'm going to now trap the blue. I'm going to knit with the brown and trap the blue. In order to do that, you always start by putting your right needle into the stitch. I'm going to trap the blue, and this is a little bit different. I'm going to wrap it as if to knit, and then I'm going to wrap the brown, which is my eventual stitch color, the one that I want to show up on the front. And now I'm going to unwrap my background color, unwrap that blue, and pull my brown through. And you can see that the brown is still on the right needle, so I've pulled my brown through. So that's stitch number 1. I'm going to do another brown just so that you can see what it looks like to have that blue trapped. Actually, I'm going to do 2 more brown. And then a blue. I'm going to knit the blue, not trap it. So, and that's something to be mindful of as you're doing color work. You know that you have to do something with the yarn. Keep in your head whether you're knitting it or you're trapping it, because you can accidentally knit when you mean to trap, or you can actually accidentally trap when you mean to knit. Okay, so let me show you the back of the work here. This is, you can see right away, the stitch that I trapped the blue on. It's this one here, because the brown went over it. You can also see that because the blue is in my right hand, it is laying on top of the brown stitches, whereas way back here, the dominant color is on the bottom. Again, the dominant color is on the bottom. You don't see as much brown here, and that's partly because I'm knitting with it, and also partly because it's underneath. So if there's less brown showing here than on the back, then that means there's more brown showing on the front, and you would see that if I had knitted a few more rows. Let me know if that makes sense, because it very well might not. And if you need it, I'll just trap this one more time just so that you see the motion. Okay, so I'm going to, my eventual stitch is going to be brown. I'm trapping blue. I'm knitting brown, trapping blue. So put my needle through the stitch, wrap this as if to knit, wrap this as if to knit, and then unwrap the contrast color. You can see that only the brown is going to come through on my right needle tip. And as always, and you know, completely out of pattern, but that's not really the point. As always, spread your stitches out on the right hand needle, and that will make your floats nice and loose. You can see they look floppy, but that's actually how you want them, because you can snug them up a little bit if they're too loose. You can't do anything if they're too tight, and you'll get fabric that just doesn't work.